And so is it useful for people to learn how to use LinkedIn better to improve their profile? I mean, we've spoken about this, in interviews previously. And so, to go through a training course like we've prepared for them, how much does that increase their chances? As you say, you're almost on there every day now. And people need to be doing that almost as a habit, but then also following a set of instructions and a series of lessons, like we'll make available to them in this 4 hour long course with teaching and demonstrations that actually shows them live on the screen with the principles and the steps that they need to take to go through to improve their profile. I mean, just talk about how useful that would be then potentially for everybody to go through.
It is so critical because I think we don't realize how much there is that can be done. And I'll use an example of the client, and I think that she's probably listening in now. The client that I spoke to directly before this, my previous consultation, we shared screens and I was clicking around on LinkedIn. Now, she wasn't yet convinced that LinkedIn was, she didn't yet have and doesn't yet have a LinkedIn profile of her own. And she said, I'm not really convinced about it. And so I wasn't even trying to convince her. I just went on because we were looking around at a couple of things. We were sort of researching some companies she would like to work for, and I was click through. You could then see the people who are working at that company. It's easy then to know who to reach out to, etc. And she said, wow, I didn't know LinkedIn could do this. So within 10 minutes, we had been able to pull up a particular company that she would like to work in. Then LinkedIn prompts you with similar companies that other people would have looked for. She could look up the current jobs. She could follow the company. She could set an alert for jobs that came up. She could look up current opportunities. That stuff you don't just know. Having a lesson or tuition on LinkedIn makes you so much more aware of those things. You wouldn't necessarily think about them. And I think that's where the value of this comes in. Salil, is that what you had in mind when you were setting it up?
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn, that's what LinkedIn really does. And what I've also recruited from other like marketplace websites. So for example, in India, they have a Naukri.com, all these portals, where you can find students. And what I realized is those portals are not as effective anymore, because when you download a resume, the resume is outdated sometimes the contact information is not right, sometimes they've lied on the resume, and it's just not that interactive. Whereas when I see a person's profile on LinkedIn, I can see the company they worked in, immediately click the company profile, find networks, find my connection that I can ask for a background verification for them. So everything is so efficient when it comes to LinkedIn. It's so active, right? Their company, their achievements, their trophies, their medals, their certification. Even LinkedIn has a skills test that we talk about in this course. And they can take a skills test on LinkedIn, get results, get that percentage, and then have that displayed. So I can see everything in a very organized, user-friendly manner on LinkedIn, which is just better than this traditional, resume that we work on, which is a Word document or PDF that necessarily might be updated or might be missing some relevant experiences or anything like that. So LinkedIn has just become that powerful resume, which is almost like your own personal website, right? You can have a salilzaman.tracyashington.com, but you can just have LinkedIn / your name, and that's your own personal professional website, where everything you do, everything you talk about, everything that you've done is all on that profile, and that just gives you that power, and it empowers you for people to find you.